walking! Look, Dan, the new walking is out. Here's a good article, putting one foot in front of the other. Give them their own magazine, you know? Come on. Give them their own magazine. You know what you call it? Better crates and cartons. Then when they get finished reading it, they can use it to line their clothing. Well, that's the kind of answer you'd get from a conservative American businessman. He'd say, yeah, let them read it. When they get finished reading it, they can use it to plug up the holes in them piano crates they live in. A good, practical, sound, American, business, conservative solution. I'll give you an idea about homelessness. First thing you got to do is change the name. It's not homelessness. It's houselessness. These people need houses. A home is an abstract idea, has to do with a setting, a state of mind. These people need physical, tangible structures. Low-cost housing. But where are you going to put it? Nobody wants you to build low-cost housing near their house. They don't want it near them. We got a thing in this country called NIMBY, N-I-M-B-Y, not in my backyard. That's what they call it. People don't want anything near them, especially if it might help somebody else. They don't want any kind of social help located near them. You try to open up a halfway house. You try to open up a drug rehab center. You try to open up a little place for some retarded people who want to work their way into the community. People say, not in my backyard. They don't want it near them, especially if it might help somebody else. Part of the great American spirit of generosity. You can ask the American Indians all about the great American spirit of generosity. If you need current information, try a black family. They'll help you figure out the great American generous spirit. These days we call it 1,000 points of light. People don't want anything near them, even if it's something they believe in, something they think society needs, like prisons. Everybody wants more prisons. Everybody wants that. That's the new answer to all of our problems. Lock a lot of people up. People say, build more prison, but not here. Well, why not? What's the problem? What would be wrong with having a prison in your neighborhood? It would seem to me like it would make it a pretty crime-free area, don't you think? You think a lot of crackheads and pimps and street criminals are going to be hanging around in front of a prison? No way! They're gone! What's wrong with these people? I mean, all the prisoners are locked up, the criminals are behind the walls, and if a couple of them do break out, what do you think they're going to do? Hang around? Check real estate? No way! They're gone! The whole idea of breaking out of prison is to get as far away as you possibly can. Not in my backyard. Well, I got an idea where we can put some low-cost housing. Golf courses. This is just what we need. Golf courses. Plenty of good land. Plenty of good land in nice neighborhoods, land that's devoted now to a meaningless, mindless activity engaged in primarily by white, well-to-do male businessmen who use the game to make deals to get together to carve the country up a little finer among themselves. Golf is an arrogant, elitist game, and it takes up entirely too much room in this country. Entirely too much room. Listen to me. You know how much room it takes up? 17,000 golf courses, about 150 acres each. That's 3 million acres. That's 4,800 square miles. 2 Rhode Islands and a Delaware you could build for the homeless on the land that's currently devoted to this meaningless, mindless, arrogant, elitist, racist game. Racist game. Racist game. I say it's time to reclaim that valuable land from the wealthy and turn it over to the homeless. You see, I have solutions. You know the only problem? No one ever calls. Rarely get a call from Congress or a think tank. Thank you all for listening. Good night.
Here's another pack of low-grade morons who ought to be locked into portable toilets and set on fire. These people with bumper stickers that say, "We are the proud parents of an honor student at the Franklin School." You know? Or the Midvale Academy, or whatever other innocent-sounding name has been assigned to the indoctrination center where their child has been sent to be stripped of his individuality and turned into an obedient, soul-dead, conformist member of the American consumer culture. Proud parents. What kind of empty people need to validate themselves through the achievements of their children? How'd you like that to live with a couple of these misfits? How's that science project coming along, Justin? Fuck you, Dad. You simple-minded prick. Mind your own business and pass the Cheerios. Here's a bumper sticker I'd like to see. We are the proud parents of a child whose self-esteem is sufficient that he doesn't need us promoting his minor scholastic achievements on the back of our car. Or, we are the proud parents of a child who has resisted his teacher's attempts to break his spirit and bend him to the will of his corporate masters. Just be a nice little for change, you know?
Thank you. This is the best news show ever. I told that to one of the producers, and I want you to know that. I've seen them all, and it's just, especially the first 35 minutes.
Thank you, sir.
It's just unparalleled.
I got bad news between you and I. We got 6 minutes to completely screw that into the ground.
Okay, that's good.
Dumbledore,
yes.
Jerry Falwell, Tinky Winky. I'm missing something on why gay, non-existent characters are so important.
Don't these professional Christians have something to do during the day? I mean, didn't Jesus leave instructions about how to plan your day, something constructive? Didn't he kind of help people? Didn't he, look out for the afflicted, to use half of A.J. Lieberman's quote, to comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable, completed? It just seems that they get off on these tangents, and of course the homosexuality and the reading of science fiction such as the Bible, and giving it the standard of truth. I mean, it would be cartoonish if it weren't, dangerous to some people.
All right, and leading people to establish theocracies and go to war and all the rest of that.
Yes, yeah, and instilling guilt and shame and fear in people.
There's a Republican poll out that says that Stephen Colbert is 5th among Democrats. They surveyed 1,000 people who, I don't know, like Republicans or whatever the polling was. But is there a period of time, have we gotten there? Because Mencken predicted that eventually we'd actually elect the dumbest guy in America. Are we going to someday elect a satirical president, a guy who really had no intention of having, he's doing it as a sales tool for something else?
Well, we're working on it. I mean, we did elect something of that nature in 2000 and 2004, if you want to look at it from a long distance. If you're up close, it may not be that. I was around in 1960 when Professor Irwin Corey ran for president, and I was around in 1968 when Pat Paulson ran for president, and I think Larry Flint had a go at it there. For what? It's why is he the 5th among the Democrats? Doesn't he play a Republican on television?
Yeah, apparently he comes in 10th or 11th down there with Tom Tancredo. He's only got like 1% of the Republicans. Of course, he is, as Bob and Ray once posited, was the best way to try to get elected. Run for both the Democratic and Republican nominations. You have 2 chances.
He's just a wonderful comic relief, and I hope he goes far, and I hope he can get a couple of primary states under his belt.
We really upset this thing. The reverse of Colbert. I want to play you this clip. It's Senator Arlen Specter and a story that he says his colleague's father used to tell. Play this thing.
Dan's mother and I have sex almost every night. We almost have sex on Monday. We almost have sex on Tuesday.
As odd as it is to see a Republican senator, even a fairly liberal one from Pennsylvania, standing there at the Improv,
yes.
Is there something positive about this? Because, Nelson Rockefeller had made that joke 40 years ago. Not only would he have been out of the presidential race, he would have had to resign as governor of New York. Just anything that touching. Is it better that we're letting these guys get up and have fun?
I liked Rockefeller because he gave the finger to the Republican convention, the conservatives in 1964, and then he died in the saddle, which I thought was a nice thing for the Republic. Of course, he had his screw you money put away a long time before.
Yeah.
I think that's a great joke that Specter told. I was waiting for Phil Specter. I wasn't sure. Edith Specter might have been.
Yeah, well, Phil is no longer involved in the government. Well, not directly anyway. Now he's being pursued by the government. Right. I mentioned Bob and Ray. Those were my heroes when I was a kid. At the height of Watergate, I got to interview them, and I said, why don't you do, because they've gone after McCarthy in a limited way, but a very effective way. So why didn't you do more political humor? And Ray Goulding said, how could we make that funnier? Yeah. Do you feel that way about President Bush?
Well, I use the sledgehammer. I don't bother with the rapier on Bush. And I don't really do a lot of political humor, but I have some glancing blows in the current show that I'm developing. And one of them is a reference to him as Governor Bush, and the fact that I will always think of him, no matter where they hang his portrait, no matter where they put his statue. That's what he is. He's Governor Bush, because that's the last elected office he held legally in this country. So I like moving in and really hurting them. I don't like this. Let's be cute and let's be clever. I like smashing them. That's the only way to take care of them.
The other day, and speaking of smashing things, I quoted in this newscast, first time in the newscast, the 7 words you can't say on television, the story of it, and the fact that everybody forgets that the first part of that story is the guy who had his phone tapped and would answer the phone, believe Hoover.
Yeah.
We're back there. How did we get back to the same position that we were when you made that joke originally in the 70s?
You're talking about wiretapping and spying. Yeah. Well, I don't know that we ever really left. See, I don't think that Frank Church committee really did any good. I don't think all of these reforms, and I think power does what it wants. Power does what it wants, and now they're just more naked about it. Now they just put it right out front and say, this is what we're doing to you folks. It's, this country's finished. It's been sliding downhill a long time. And everybody's got a cell phone that makes pancakes, so they don't want to rock the boat. They don't want to make any trouble. Now, people have been bought off by gizmos and toys in this country, and no one questions things anymore. Seriously, that's what I love about your show. I mean, you bring the thing right to them, and that's the only way to do it.
As you know, if you got the platform and you're not doing something with it, you might as well have a trained monkey out here. The one and only George Carlin. The retrospective is called George Carlin, All My Stuff on DVD. Go buy it. A pleasure having you.
Thank you, sir. I really appreciate it.
That's countdown to this, the 1,637th day since the declaration of mission accomplished in Iraq. Our coverage continues next with MSNBC Live with Dan Abrams. From New York, I'm Keith Olbermann. Good night and good luck.
I would defend to the death his right to do everything he does. The thing that I find unusual, and it's not a criticism so much, but his targets are underdog. And comedy traditionally has picked on people in power, people who abuse their power. Women and gays and immigrants are kind of, to my way of thinking, underdog. And, he ought to be careful because he's Jewish. And a lot of the people who want to pick on these kind of groups, the Jews are on that list. A little further, you got women, gays, gypsies, blah, 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 and then suddenly you find Jews. And
Suddenly Andrew's arrested.
Yeah, so, I mean, obviously, he should do what he wants. And why does he get away with it, do you think?
Well, then he's never laughed at jokes about it.
Well, I think he's appealing largely. I think his core audience are young white males who are threatened by these groups. I think a lot of these guys aren't sure of their manhood because that's a problem when you're going through adolescence. Could I be? I hope I'm not, but I am. And the women who assert themselves and are competent are a threat to these men, and so are immigrants in terms of jobs.
So that's why we as an audience then will laugh.
You say we, I don't think you're
no.
But I think you're
collectively.
I think that's what is at the core of that experience that takes place in these arenas. There's a certain a sharing of anger and rage at these targets. And I'm sure Andrew isn't that angry at them. I'm sure he's playing it as a comic.
Because I got to tell you the truth, folks. I got to tell you the truth. When it comes to bullshit, big time, major league bullshit, you have to stand in awe of the all-time champion of false promises and exaggerated claims, religion. No contest. No contest. Religion easily has the greatest bullshit story ever told. Think about it. Religion has actually convinced people that there's an invisible man living in the sky who watches everything you do every minute of every day. And the invisible man has a special list of 10 things he does not want you to do. And if you do any of these 10 things, he has a special place full of fire and smoke and burning and torture and anguish where he will send you to live and suffer and burn and choke and scream and cry forever and ever till the end of time. But he loves you. He loves you and he needs money. He always needs money. He's all powerful, all perfect, all knowing, and all wise. Somehow, just can't handle money. Religion takes in billions of dollars. They pay no taxes, and they always need a little more. Now, you talk about a good bullshit story. Holy shit. Thank you. you very much. But I want you to know something. This is sincere. I want you to know, when it comes to believing in God, I really tried. I really, really tried. I tried to believe that there is a God who created each of us in his own image and likeness, loves us very much, and keeps a close eye on things. I really tried to believe that, but I gotta tell you, the longer you live, the more you look around, the more you realize something is fucked up. Something is wrong here. War, disease, death, destruction, hunger, filth, poverty, torture, crime, corruption, and the ice capades. Something is definitely wrong. This is not good work. If this is the best God can do, I am not impressed. Results like these do not belong on the resume of a supreme being. This is the kind of shit you'd expect from an office temp with a bad attitude. And just between you and me, in any decently run universe, this guy would have been out on his all-powerful ass a long time ago. And by the way, I say this guy because I firmly believe, looking at these results, that if there is a God, it has to be a man. No woman could or would ever fuck things up like this. If there is a God, if there is, I think most reasonable people might agree that he's at least incompetent and maybe, just maybe, doesn't give a shit. Doesn't give a shit, which I admire in a person and which would explain a lot of these bad results. So rather than be just another mindless religious robot, mindlessly and aimlessly and blindly believing that all of this is in the hands of some spooky, incompetent father figure who doesn't give a shit, I decided to look around for something else to worship. Something I could really count on. And immediately, I thought of the sun. Happened like that. Overnight, I became a sun worshiper. Well, not overnight. You can't see the sun at night. First thing the next morning, I became a sun worshiper. Several reasons. First of all, I can see the sun, okay? Unlike some other gods I could mention, I can actually see the sun. I'm big on that. If I can see something, I don't know, kind of helps the credibility along, you know? So every day I can see the sun as it gives me everything I need. Heat, light, food, flowers in the park, reflections on the lake, an occasional skin cancer, but hey, at least there are no crucifixions, and we're not setting people on fire simply because they don't agree with us. Sun worship is fairly simple. There's no mystery, no miracles, no pageantry.